Thank you, David, for this gracious introduction and for inviting me again. Um, I um, I want to begin by acknowledging and my gratitudes, um, as I did in the book. So this is my book. I want to thank PGN team and the PGN team that is here today, Finn and Mark, and I want to say really how truly grateful and humbled I am to be at this spot. And I want to acknowledge also, as I have done in the back of the book, all the people here and at all the poetry groups that I'm part of. And you know who you are because you're always there with me, and people who are spoken words enthusiasts and they show up all the time and support each other. And I love that. And that's, I think, I believe the reason why I'm here. And I'm truly grateful. I was going to read mostly from the book, but in the light of the very powerful poems that I have heard from Thomas and the rest of you today, I would like to read more recent stuff. I'd also talk a little from the book. These are mostly poems that I wrote, poems that speak to what it means to me to be on the cusp of transformation. So they are poems about being on the edge, seeing the moment as it is, the world that collapses and the world that is reborn. And these are my meditations of what it means to be in that place. Um, but I would like to read something else to start. I would like to acknowledge also, humbly, someone who was very important to me. Professor Mirsky passed away December 4th, um, this year, last year, right before the semester ended. So I would like to read the poem that I wrote in his honor right the day after he passed. Professor Mirsky, my teacher passed away last night, well past the average lifespan of the average American male. How to tell the well-meaning that statistics of life expectancy are no comfort, that divine coincidences both hurt and heal, that it must be so, it must be so. Write about what hurts, he said. You'd be glad if you do. Listen to this. My grandfather's dreams clung to towns all over the east of Europe. Far from Pinsk, Belarus, they flung me to the wooden tenements of Dorchester slums. Boston, deep in the slender blade of it. From here, I watched my father's meteoric career and slung myself as far as I could from the ashen streets of Ward 14, away from the ferocious condescension of the Mayflower crowd, the deep blue hill and the Boyle brothers, who scraped my face on the concrete for having murdered Jesus. From here onward, he flowered like a vine, magical, mystical. In a world that's out to get you, it pays to be a little shifty. Never forget. Yet you're never more alive than when you feel the bitter and the harsh, when they flow out of you cursive and legible. Write about what hurts, he said, and tell me about your father. The sights and smells of your childhood days, the story you are afraid to tell, even to yourself. First draft, second draft, they inch, they circle towards the imminent. How could I have known? Estranged and lost, I who had traveled the decades alone without bridges. And him. Why did he pry with such urgency about my father? My father passed away while ink, silky and wet, still ebbed on my paper. That day, 2 incense sticks burned on my desk. The musky sandalwood smoke spiraled with burning questions. Why now? Why 2? Back in New York, frail as a dry twig in the winter snap, Mark Mirsky was barely holding on. Write about what hurts, he said. You'll be glad when you do. Tell me about your father. Third draft, significantly revised to receive my father's ashes and their scattering over the clouds, is still waiting, unopened, in his mailbox. It had arrived soon after I finished writing with an urgency I did not understand. Last night, 4 a.m., as he was drifting well out of chaos, into a sleep beyond pain. So this was my tribute to my professor. Um, I would also like to read some uh, some newer poems that I'm writing on a theme that has to do with myths. So I'm writing persona poems that are inspired by a myth where there's several characters, and the purpose of this exercise is to write in the voice of each of the characters and even have them have a conversation. So they're all persona poems. The myth that I have picked is the myth of Arachne and Athena. And just briefly, Arachne and Athena is a story about pride and being humbled eventually by the turn of events. So I think these poems are better read in sequence so that because they're the various voices in the myth. Arachne knitting. Mrs. Gladwell from around the block has been out of her home for years. How can you tell? I mean, you can tell her small split level needs fresh paint, repairs. The faded white work permit taped to the window speaks of a flood and more. Electrical, foundational. A web of boxes gathers dust, stacked behind the curtains. Outside, the opaque windows, chanterelles flower a track through the overgrown lawn, the crabgrass and abandoned evidence of deer. I cross her backyard often on my way to the woods. I am trespassing, though I tell myself I'm not, because I remember her and how she let me pet her dog, a slick whippet I always thought ugly. Good girl, she'd say, and I never knew what she meant. I petted her dog and laughed with her like mornings in the sun. Her dog nimble, yanking the leash to sniff my son's nose. Shy behind my legs, young and fearful. Good girl, she'd say, breezing through the day like the wind through the whipping cherry. She was not pretty, nor was she young, and neither was her name Gladwell, or Gladys, or Sunshine, or Honey. Though it might as well have been, like freckles or wrinkles, like white clover in her hair, like smile under a woolen hat, like she who takes her grandson to ball games, like goddess you see and you don't know. Just like that, just like that. I don't remember when I saw her last. Today I'm knitting a scarf like she used to wear, like I promised myself I would never, never. But here I am, yarn coiled around my knuckles, white, black, thinking of what became of her. The next poem in the sequence is in the voice of Mrs. Gladwell. Glad to be out in the sun, glad in the woods with their cedar smell, crisp and fresh like Chloe's barks. How she loves to sniff the air. I love Chloe and the woods behind my house and my house. There was a time when it felt too small, too much like a ripening. I loved it green like the olive groves of my home. over the seas where the owls hoot and hoot all night in the thickets. Julie was the first to live to her life, and John soon after. Who would want to be, even for a day, in this old body? 40 years in one place is no joke, I say. I miss John. He left just like the Lynches around the block, one cancer after another. That's life under high voltage lanes, some say. On TV, some fault people, some the gods. I know no real difference between blame and praise, so I keep quiet. Less than a mile through the woods, the grid widens in an electric power substation. Its transformers cancer the air we breathe into light and heat. Mrs. Z and her kids now live in the Lynch's house around the block. She does not say it, but I can see it in her eyes, excessive pride and fear. She watching them like we all had in our time, fiercely, as if no one had kids before her, like we had, like we all had. Like life is thread in her hands to weave in place, the same place, the same. Silly girl, keep on weaving. Today the air smells of sugar and spice from David's Cookies factory at the edge of the village. I will walk gladly around the block, and Chloe will sniff at what she will. And the final poem in the sequence is the face-off between Arachne and Athena, which, for those of you who don't know the myth, the face-off results in Arachne being transformed into a spider. All right. Arachne and Athena. If you die in your dream, will you still wake up? Mom, Mom. No matter how fine the fabric, a weaver knows its holes. Late in my sleep you come, the owls hoot. Hear my anti-psalm. You startle me. Oh, why I cannot hear you in the stony calm with which you shriek and rip my body to small bones. Who are you fighting in your dream? Wake up, please, Mom. I say, you won the battle fair, you're uncoiled around your arm, yet lost the war. You foolish girl, take it from me, the crown. My body twisted in a knot, the owls hoot, indite the anti-psalm. Take my advice, humble yourself, and God's forgiveness be a balm. Your pride is righteous and misplaced. Foolish girl, what do you know? I'm scared, Mom. Please, wake up. Wake up. Mom. Mom. What do I know of you who weaves, molds being into form? You do not speak. You show me who I am. A drone. A drone. You come to me in my sleep while owls hoot an anti-psalm. Over the rafters hanging a thread I barely see. I reach one arm and then again, 8, flexible and nimble and piteously grown. If you die in your dream, will you still wake up? Mom, Mom. I'll come to you in your sleep while owls hoot my anti-psalm. This was actually 3 voices that I blended in a violonelle, which is a form I'm beginning to come to appreciate. So these were my more recent poems, and I would like to also read some from the book, if I may. Do I still have more time?
Plenty.
Plenty? Oh, okay, good. Thank you. Um, Another mythical poem in my book, I write a leitmotif in my book that shows up often is water, but also fire. But I want to read a poem about water, also somewhat mythical. All right, just me open it. Rusalka Ghazal. One day, inside this pearl body, we'll find a river. We, like tributaries, will become that river. Under the moon, the circle dance. I fish, you human. Step in. We feel the velvet green, the scum, the river, the sinuous meander of what was just a brook, the mountain's core, its song, its hum, a river. Ensnared in these dark waters, you fishing me, I humaning you. Unheard under the waves, the drum, its river. The beat that carves rock into riverbed, it's calling. I fish, you human. We bleed from our gums, the river. Who am I? Who are you? We asked, unhinged, unsatisfied. We link like currents in a conscious stream, the river. Unhinged, unsatisfied, you fish, I human, the pearl, a dream away. Into a delta will succumb the river. Our shells dissolve where life begins. In the Black Sea, Rusalka is my name. In the Black Sea, I am the river. Um, I would like to read something that has to do with fire, because this is also a theme in my book. Fire, not necessarily as fire, but as in heat, perhaps. I could almost be happy. And this has epigraph which says September 4th, 2024, 4 killed and 9 others wounded at the shooting at a Georgia high school. I wrote this poem in 4 parts and 9 stanzas to commemorate. Part 1. I could almost be happy. First September mornings, clear skies and kids like mine on their way to school. On such a day, the year of the fall, in the city of concrete sustenance, a son was born of my American dream. The ecology of glass and steel still foreign to us. I was almost happy months before rubble hit the ground. Years later, I find my words are broken between my native and my adopted tongue, the way the sky falls in morning. Nothing will happen here is hope. Yet every day, here or somewhere, another happening breaks us open. My son would say from a desert afar. No longer a kid. He will return one day, a man. 2. On my way to school in Bryant Park, in the sun, another year's September, I could almost be happy. An old man sweeps the alleys, leaves and blossoms and passers-by. He greets the morning like peaches and young magnolias would light a face. Surely he knows loss. His eyes show it. Chocolate left out in the sun, soft, yet happy, happy. An old man not clutching at anything. Look, look, he says, flowering like Spanish moss on live oaks. Show up. It's easy. Give what you can give. 3. Today, under the same sun, a different kind of heat. In a world absurd, there is certainty in numbers. Teachers like me, kids like mine, bullets. Who would not step in front of one. 4. When all is done and dusted, Mom, I will enlist again. There is certainty in numbers. I keep count. My breath in and out, my feet slow one after the other. I feel heat against my skin. I forget about happiness. I show up. I count the heat. How much time do I have left?
I haven't been timing 7 or 8 minutes,
Oh, okay.
a
Okay.
big chunk.
Okay, good. I just don't want to go overboard. That's all. Um, the next one is a self-portrait Haibun is called. I wrote it during a workshop at Dodge Poetry Festival last a couple of years ago, and I wrote it because in during this time I noticed something in the room. There was a young man who looked just like my son, like just like my son who at the time was serving a year-long deployment in the Middle East. So it was kind of like shocking to just sit there and see this young man across the room and writing. So this is what this book, this piece is about. We write surrounded by people and books. Across the room on a bar stool, a boy with a tiny mustache and wire-rimmed glasses. He reminds me of my son and the desert. My son in the desert, the war still far away. The young man at the counter is writing, his youth apparent, his youth transparent. Daybreak shadows linger in the mirror, the black cat in and out of the frame like me. After all these years, his fears finally thawed, and my son far away. Nothing about us is simple, yet black and white, just ways to say I love you. Today I see how the night sets over the desert, how the sun comes back. Mom, I wish you could see the way the wind touches my face in the early mornings. The first patrol, the kids in the village are nice. Some days there are apples and candy thrown our way. I think they know we are leaving. Others will take our place. Mom, the desert is kind today. The pen in my hand is a memory, a remnant. I was young once. White hair falls on my face, a river. I stop worrying. I'm grateful for the young man writing his life. I see myself in the mirror early mornings, early fall, small flower pots lining the windows. The summer sun saved, the tiny seedlings rising timidly like poems out of dark husks. Why are we still afraid? Each night there is the black cat lounging on my lap, the white spot on his chest stretched as he looks at me. After all these years, my son is coming home. I would like to read a poem, which is one of my favorites from this collection, an ode to moss. I absolutely love the idea of writing about something as ordinary as moss and make it an ode at that. So here it is. Ode to Moss. In the beginning, there was you, from algae to land. You, 450 million years without roots. Your filaments able on hard rock. In mineral soil, disturbed soil, you who inhabits the logs, the burned stumps, the bogs, on cliff seeps, waterfall sprays, you, unassuming. cosmopolitan in cracks between paving stones, slippery on damp Singapore streets, on roofs, a garden weed in Vancouver. You, the carbon soaking sidewalk moss, water soaking the small light of shade. You, wholly aquatic citizen of the marshes, you creep in slow moving waterways to become more of yourself. You travel across continents with the ease of the unseen. Soft and smooth, your velvet green measures the air. You survive desiccation, extremes. You return to life like a sponge that sucks up moisture from thin air. Like us, an immigrant, an immigrant. You epiphyte on cedars and oaks, green balm. You antiseptic swathe, you feel the bandages of the wounded, the long history of devastation. Here, the luxuriant green growth points to the boreal tundra. You warm reindeer blood on its Arctic journey. The Southern Living advises, questions. Is it hurting the grass, this primitive? Will it disturb the civilized manicured perfection? How to get rid of moss in your lawn. After long winters, I come into the woods to touch the down trees. I find you here holding the soil with your fragmented colonies. I find you mothering the understory. We, immigrants here, we meet. Unless you tell me I'm out of time, I will keep reading.
No, I think you're over 20 minutes.
Okay,
If you
good. Then I'm good.
want to go ahead.
Well, would I have like a minute or so?
Oh yeah, yeah. Do a little one,
Okay.
and that'd be great.
Okay, I will show this video that I have made for one of the poems and I will close with that and I want to thank you all. Um, so I will show this hopefully with sound. All right. And I'm thanking you all for this um today. Where I go, you can't follow. A poem written and read by Mona Zamfirescu. Where I go, you can't follow. The blue heron, its wings wide, elegant and sharp in its circular flight above me. Deeper into the marshes, I did not believe, nor did I understand. My arms are strained. I paddle forward. I follow him. Him patient and ready, the waters quieter than my breath. Where I go, you can't follow. A raft of cormorants leans in, the water still before their takeoff. The woods green with a blackbird's warble. He flies by like an arrow. Where I go, you can't follow. I hear them whisper. I feel my arms. Slow heartbeats echo my longing. The forest chatter in the midday light. Fallen trees raise branches above the water. They too, where I go, you can't follow. My arms are strained. Harsh on my skin the sun burns, the forest cool and green. At last, on the rocky path, barefoot and wet, I feel every edge, solid and urgent. I carry my wares beyond sorrow. Finally, I understand. Where I go, you can't follow.
Wow.
Thank you all so much. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
you listening.
Well, absolutely. What a wonder your poetry is. Frail as a dry twig in the winter snap. Oh my God. I can almost hear it. Um, you who cross continents with the ease of the unseen. Oh my word. Uh, Kind of haunting in its beauty. And what a tender thing, talking about your son, and he's no longer a kid. He'll return one day as a man. Uh, quite a strong uh, bond that's visible there. It's amazing. And in this world as it is, there is certainty in numbers. Wow, absolutely. And maybe my favorite couple lines is I show up, I count heat. Oh my God, I count heat. Oh, wow. Thank you so much. I'm glad the desert is kind today and the fishing and the humaning is going on in perfect balance. I'll leave the recording going while anybody would let's unmute our mics and clap and comment.
Thank you,
Oh,
Mona.
marvelous,
Thank
Mona.
you, Mona.
Just
That was
marvelous.
wonderful.
Beautifully done. Beautifully
Such beautiful
done. Thank you
words,
very
and
much.
beautifully read and beautifully shared. Thank you, Mona.
That was beautiful,
Joyce,
babe. You're
with
my
you
new
at your
hero.
son coming.
Yeah,
Yeah, I definitely appreciate you including that last piece with your photography as well, because
Mhm.
those of us who are lucky to be Facebook friends all love seeing your
Yeah, your
photography
photography is
faces.
wonderful. It's awesome.
And I rejoice with you at your son coming home. That's great news.
absolutely. Wow.
Thank you all so much. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. Wow. Okay, I'll get the recording